Welcome to Ask GC Anything.
Yes, and this week we are talking all about what pros get up to during the off-season, how to train for a short time trial, and how to get monster quads just like our very own John Travolta.
Not to mention, if you'd like to be in with a chance of winning a free 3-month subscription to Zwift to kickstart your winter training, then simply comment with the hashtag AskGCAnything. And for any other questions you've got, put hashtag TalkBack.
Yeah, so make sure you put them in the comment section below. Right, I reckon, Ollie, we should get crack on with the first question. And that comes in from Marcus Castle. That's the way you would say it. Yeah. Apart from yoga, do pro cyclists ever use off-the-bike exercises to aid their training? For example, running or swimming?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And the simple answer is yes, they do. And this is because of the cross-training effect. And this is widely accepted amongst athletes from other sports as well. They might do cycling if they're a rugby player, for example. And the idea behind it is that you're giving yourself a mental break from the sport that you spend most of your time
day in, day
doing.
out, hours.
Yeah, and you're also making yourself a more resilient, all-round, stronger athlete by using muscles and muscle groups that you necessarily wouldn't use just doing your one specialist dedicated sport. And you know, well, Peter Sagan is a good example. I mean, he does a lot of yoga.
Yeah, he was actually famous for getting in the craziest positions.
If you say so.
Yeah.
I interviewed Alejandro Valverde a couple of years ago, and he told me that he did a lot of cross-country running in the off-season.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
and also, don't forget, Thibaut Pinot actually started this season with not a cycling event, actually a cross-country skiing event. So there you have it. I've heard that's pretty tough. I've never done it.
Yeah, it looks pretty tough. Pretty cool though.
So there you have it. A lot of pros do use a lot of other exercises to really keep fit.
Yeah.
Right, the next question comes from Rennie. I live somewhere hilly with almost no flats. Will doing uphill sprints still be effective? And an effective HIIT session, which stands for high intensity interval training session, if they greatly vary in length, some only 5 seconds up to, almost over a minute.
Yeah, so 100%. When I was training for the hill climb season, I would often find small hills to do my training on, as you got that instant resistance to sort of push against. And HIIT sessions are best done, I think, on a short climb. What I would do is actually find the best climb in my local area and then just rep that. So I would do, say, 3 or 4 intervals in a session on that climb. And do a little loop to get a rest, and then just keep doing the same climb.
That's interesting. You love going up and down the same climbs.
Yeah.
I mean, your everything is coming to mind. But
well, you can plan a route with different climbs.
Yeah, so that's what I normally do. I'll look at a route, and then up every climb, I'll just go full gas, and then my recovery will be in between those climbs. So typically, switch up.
Yeah. So the best kind of the interval would be like a Tabata style HIIT interval, which would be typically around 4 to 5 minutes long. You can make them longer, but it's better to keep it short and do more of them. Where you would do something like 20 seconds full gas up the climb, then 10 seconds just easy but active recovery, and then 20 seconds full gas, and keep repeating that for 4 minutes or 5 minutes. You should be feeling sick after one of those intervals, but that's the best kind of HIIT session. So if you've got a climb near you, say the biggest one's 1 minute, I would say try and find a climb that's a bit longer than that and focus your session on that.
Yeah, have a go with that. The Ollie HIIT session. So the winner of this week's 3-month subscription from Zwift is Bram Menon. For this question, what is the best way to train for a time trial that is only 10 minutes in duration? I got a time trial planned in 6 weeks, and I wondered which is the best Zwift session for this. What do you reckon, Ollie?
Well, Bram, the good news here is that it usually takes about 6 weeks to see an increase in performance from your training. So that's perfect for you. In terms of a time trial lasting around 10 minutes, the biggest thing you're going to want to improve here is your lactate tolerance and also your VO2 max, because you're going to accumulate quite a bit of lactate in a 10-minute interval or a 10-minute effort.
Yeah, that's very true. And as always, we do send our question in to Zwift and they come back with a workout that really will suit you, they say. So this is the workout that they've sent in and it's called the TT Tune-Up. And this lasts around 5 to 8 weeks, so it does fit in your planned time schedule. The first week, looking at those anaerobic efforts, so the efforts that last 30 to 60 seconds with a long recovery. And then the middle section, looking on those high lactate buffering sessions, lasting around 2 minutes, and also working on some threshold. And then the last section of the plan, looking at those high VO2 efforts, and that should really set you up well going into a 10-minute time trial.
Yeah, let us know how you get on.
Yeah, and enjoy those 3 months. Next question comes in from Paul Graham. Hi GCN, great show as always. Thank you, Paul, appreciate that. I currently use ceramic speed dry lube on my chain and was thinking of using wax instead, which people say is more efficient and you don't have to clean your chain as much. Would I be better off using the wax or the dry lube? Interesting question, because I've also heard a lot about the dawn of wax lubes and how efficient they are. I actually have never used wax lube, but I know you, my friend, have. So tell Paul what to do.
Right, well, I'm a big fan of lube, and I think
I hope you're talking about.
I've used the ceramic speed dry lube, and the problem with that lube and many other dry lubes is that they do wash off very easily when there is moisture on the road or if it rains, and that just leaves you with a very inefficient and dry drivetrain. The clue's in the name, dry lubes for use in dry conditions. Waxers can be really good and really efficient, and if you go on Friction Facts you can see the different lube performances independently.
It could be up to 10 watts, is that true?
Where you can make your chain very efficient with a wax chain. I've used it in time trials, but I tend to, if I'm going to go to the trouble of waxing a chain and getting it perfect, it needs to be absolutely spotless, absolutely internally spotless before you apply the wax, otherwise there's not really any point. And there is a benefit, but I will only do it for those key events. So like an A race or a time trial where I really want to do really well. If there's any moisture, then I will use a wet lube. Like for riding in winter right now, where in the UK, the roads are covered in rubbish and crap, and it's often raining, I will just use a wet lube, because then that will stay adhered to the chain and be more efficient. It's less efficient than an optimized lube, but on balance, it actually becomes more efficient because it actually stays on there and doesn't just attract loads of dirt. But
so basically what we're saying is, why don't you pick a race or an event and then, look at waxing your chain and going to those watt-saving, or during training period, just use the average, lube.
The short answer is a wax chain can offer massive benefits in terms of drivetrain efficiency, but it takes quite a lot of effort to do. Your train needs to be potless, so save it for the big days.
Yeah, there you go. And if you did actually want to learn how to wax your chain, then John is just talking you through it here. So go and check that video out here.
It's a gold chain as well.
So now that your wax has melted, you're going to need to slowly lower the chain into the wax and leave it for about 20 minutes or until there's no small bubbles appearing from the links and the rollers of the chain.
Next question is from Paul Cook, who writes, "Hi GCN, I'm wanting to improve my cycling over the winter so that I can be faster and stronger when riding sportives next season. I don't have an indoor trainer, but commute to work by bike around 3 days a week, and it's about 6 miles each way. I tend to get out at the weekends for around 2 to 3 hours on every other weekend, but have little other time to train outside of this. What advice can you give me to help maximise my training efforts?"
You've got a very good reading voice. I think you should do like read Harry Potter or something. Anyway, back to the question. Yes, I would say increasing your commute and maybe making it harder, so then you'll actually get more out of a short session. So you could potentially do 10 minutes hard and then 5 minutes easy, because then put in a bit of a interval session into your commute. And then the faster and stronger you get, you can even elongate it even more. So say, and wake up a bit earlier and get an hour and a half in, or come back from work and add on another loop, and you'll see some gains there.
Yeah, I think, well, firstly, I think that amount of cycling, that volume is great. And consistency with any training is always the key. So if you can be consistent, that's good. But one thing I would suggest is perhaps trying to incorporate some of your morning commutes as fasted rides. So the idea is that you could have breakfast when you get to work rather than before. And that could have some big benefits to your training and your fitness as well. But
if you wanted to dive deep into how to train while commuting, I think Emma has done a video on just that. So go and check that one out.
How can you train for long, challenging cycling events when you're short of time? I mean, long rides are by definition time-consuming. However, fasted training can give you some of the benefits of a long ride, at least in terms of endurance, in much less time. Now
we're on to the quick fire round. So I've dragged Ollie in just to see how quick you are going through the quick fire round, because Dan, well, is fairly slow. Chris is pretty quick, and Sai is also fairly slow. So let's see how you get on it. Anyway, first question from Liam Sangaku. What do you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. When will we get a global track cycling network?
Well, not in the imminent future.
But
never say never.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't say never, because I would love to get on the track and go back down to my roots. So yeah, keep an eye on the channel, and hopefully we'll see some videos of us on the boards. Next question, who is it, Ollie?
It's from Ed TJ, and he says, are there any considerations to make to avoid damaging your bike from riding it on a turbo trainer? Thanks.
Good question, and your bike isn't designed really to be on a static turbo. So maybe not thrashing the bike from side to side, putting stress on parts of the frame that aren't used to be stretched and aren't actually built to take that tension is probably worth doing. So maybe take a bit more care when doing your sprinting or your hard efforts. Also, drape a towel over your front head tube, and that will stop all the sweat and salt getting into your bearings, because it's not nice when you take your bearings apart and it's full with salt and sweat.
Yeah, salt can damage the bearings, but yeah. On the whole, though, I've never heard, although it's like a sort of an urban myth, I've never heard of a bike actually getting broken by being ridden on a turbo.
Yeah, I've never had that issue. I've never had that issue. Next question is from Anant Uno. How do I get monster quads just like John Travolta? Well, that's an interesting question. And to be honest, I don't think Ollie and I are really ones to tell you.
I'd love to know.
Yeah, how to get those monster quads. But I reckon it's more of a track style sprint fitness area. So that we're talking a lot of gym work and a lot of those short sprint efforts to work those fast twitch muscles that will grow big, and
Some of it's just genetic as well.
That's very true.
I genetically have weedy little spindly quads. But I mean, some guys are just genetically more muscular, and it depends on your physiology. So.
But the downside to having massive quads is that you have to get jeans tailor-made. Like Chris Hoy, I don't know how he fits into skinny jeans.
Anyway.
Yeah, there you have it.
Question from AP. What Zwift training plan should I follow to raise my 5-minute power?
Now, interesting question. I actually did some delving and looked at the Zwift programs and workouts available, and I actually chose one from the GCN workouts, and I went for the VO2 max session, which gives you some hard 3-minute efforts, and that really, with 4-minute recovery, and that really should help you with those 5-minute power efforts.
Yeah.
So have a look at that session, and let us know in the comment section below on how you get on.
Yeah, rather you than me, AP, on that.
I'll make you do it later, trust me, you'll love it.
Next, we've got a question from 9PSI. I hope he puts more than that in his tyres.
Yeah. Why have bikes not got lighter for the same money in the last 15 years or so, or am I missing something? Interesting question.
I think he's missing something, or they're missing something.
Go on then, tell us.
Well, I think bikes have got lighter. That's the first thing. Like, You know, if you look at...
They've got lighter and more aerodynamic, haven't they?
Yeah, well, bikes have got lighter. You know, the bikes that you could buy 15 years ago now, you know, it was quite rare to have a bike that was 6.8 kilograms UCI limit. Now there's quite a lot of them available.
And didn't you do a video on a bike that was, what, how?
Yeah, 4.28 kilo.
4.28
A guy had built his bike to.
There you go.
There was a video on that. The other thing is that although you do get bikes that are as light or weigh similar amounts to bikes from, say, 10 years ago, they've become functionally a lot better. So they've added functional mass. They've made them stiffer. They've made them more aerodynamic. So although they weigh the same, they've applied more material and made the bike faster.
Yeah. So there you have it. You know, the bikes are actually better bikes and also lighter. So they're all faster bikes and also keeping the same light weightness. We've now come to the end of Ask GC Anything. And if you want to get your questions in for next week, then remember to use the hashtag AskGCN training for all your training specific questions, and also to be in with a chance of winning 3 free-month subscription from Zwift. And for any other cycling specific questions, then use the hashtag TalkBack and put them in the comment section below.
Yeah, Black Friday's been and gone,
I
but
know, sad times really.
Christmas is coming though. So if you fancy picking up any stocking fillers or any Christmas gifts, then the GCN shop has loads in stock.
Yeah, you can get your hands on some of these.
Yeah, or
And that one.
mugs, great for mulled wine at the moment.
Yeah, and good stocking fillers, aren't they?
Yeah, and if you've liked this video, found it useful, you know what to do. Thumbs up, subscribe, and for another video, why not check out the Oman epic ride?
Check out that epic ride, which you can get somewhere around there.
Opie Quadzilla and Pooley.
Yeah, amazing sunset shots in that one.